we're going to talk about, in this lecture, we're going to dive deep into the tweet. So as you introduced me, I'm a data scientist. Those are my kids. I'm currently building acoustic models and language models. I predicted purchases in my last position, and my thesis deals with online classifying online persuasion. And I dealt with data mining through Twitter. And why Twitter? Well, Twitter is a very fertile ground and a very way to describe all kind of users, all kind of knowledge and around the world. It's a very fertile ground for many types of research. And there are also many data sets. So if there is a lot of research and there is a lot of past data sets of Twitter, then why should we even try and mine new data from Twitter? Because usually not every data set fits, not every shoe size fits. And this is why I created this tutorial, in order to give you a way to build any kind of data set that you would like through Twitter. So where you start? Usually you start by creating some kind of a developer account through Twitter, and you need to apply and fill in all kind of data that you will use it for research and so on. And then you create some kind of an app, some kind of a key and tokens, so you can log into the Twitter API and get and connect to the Twitter data stream to collect your data. Once you get your key and credential, you're supposed to generate them and keep them. It's only yours. It's some kind of a credit card. You don't want to share them because you don't want to any other people to use your credential and tweet for you in your name and do some kind of improper use for your with your credential and your account. So you need to keep that safe. Very similar to the way you keep your credit card information. And what do you use those credentials for? You use them in order to log in to the API. There is a package in Python that's called Twippy, and you just use those credential keys and secret keys in order to log in through your account to the API and get data from them. And after that, what do? Well, you install the Twippy package in order to log into the account, pandas, and JSON. Pandas is a data frame in order to create, to aggregate all the data, to parse it into some kind of a nice table. And JSON is the format of the tweet itself. So usually when you're logging to the API key, you just use some kind of a query or create some kind of a filter, whether it's without media, without any pictures, with pictures, what kind of query you want to search for, and then you collect your tweets. The data format for that is JSON, and also there are all kind of limitation to the API that you cannot just stream and get constant data from the Twitter API. You need to put in some kind of a timeout in your code. So you're supposed to have like 15 minutes for about every 4,000 tweets. You need to make your code rest. or else it will just reach a timeout and it will crash. So the original tweet in Twitter contained only 140 characters, and now it contains 280 characters. So in the data structure itself, there is the former text, which only contains 140 characters, and the 3 dots that you can see here. I don't know if you can see them. Okay. And the extended tweet is the full tweet. So when you want to get tweets, you should choose the extend tweet method instead of the text one, because then you will just get the text which is cut and appear with a dot 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 instead of the full text. So I don't know if you use Twitter. I didn't use Twitter before I started researching it. So this is kind of a thread from today. No, actually a few days ago. So what you can see in Twitter, you have users, you have the user name, the user nickname, you have tweets and retweets, you have mentions, you have users, you have dates, sometimes emoji, you have the text, hashtags, you reply to other people, you have likes and URLs and images. And this is how some kind of a tweet will look like. And when you go to a user page, you will have their name, their screen name, their followers, their following, when did they join Twitter, their likes and tweets. So you have a lot of data points that you can collect and do stuff with them. So as you can see, this image really represents the way a tweet will look. The way you see the tweet, you see the details on the page and what it looks underneath. So this is the way a tweet will look underneath. This is the metadata. This is some kind of JSON. You can see all kinds of tweets repetitive. You can see all kinds of links repetitive. This is just some kind of a tweet. And you need to parse it because you will not want to work with it. You cannot plot it, you cannot aggregate it, you cannot just count the way it looks like that. So as I said before, you have the text and you have the full text. But in this example, you can see more repetitive than just the 2 times. So the text itself can be actually hide in the JSON of the tweet, and you need to actually search it in order to collect it. So you do want the tweet mode to be extended, and in order to collect the full text. But it's not really enough because it can hide in all kinds of different places in the metadata of the tweet. So in order to just collect the text, it will look something like that. You will search it if it's in one place. If it's not in there, then you will search in another place. All of these lines of code is only to collect just the tweet, just the text itself for the tweet. And you can retrieve all kinds of different data. You can retrieve the tweet ID and when it was created and the source. Maybe it's a quoted tweet. Maybe you want to see how many likes it has, how many retweets. You want to receive the mentions and the hashtags and all kind of entities that are mentioning in the tweet itself. You want to see maybe the interaction between 2 users. One user replies to another, in replies to another tweet, to another user, to a screen name. And you want maybe to receive and to collect the user data itself, their screen name, their ID, how many followers they have, how many they follow, how many what are their favorite counts, their status counts, and when was it created. You can also collect the location data. Some tweets has the location data. Some don't. And when you're done with retrieving, sometimes encoding your data when you're saving it will create all kinds of sorts of garbage, actually. So there is sometimes some kind of a tricky key with the encoding. It's sometimes caused because of the emojis we use in text. So we need to deal with those emojis when we collect the data itself, because otherwise the data will look like unreadable for humans. So we're reaching to dealing with emojis. So there are all kind of emojis packages in Python. There are this package called emojis, that is just compare with the encoding to the emoji itself and the Unicode. But then it will look a little bit messy when you're using that specific package. Another package is a very interesting one that's called Deepmoji, and what it does, it's actually use deep learning in order to see which similar emojis are close in meaning to the emojis that are used. So, for example, if you give it some kind of one emoji, it will generate other emojis that are similar to the specific emojis that it's given, which is a very interesting package. But again, it's not good for our use. We want something that can collect the emojis and just translate them to some kind of a dictionary for later use. So this is a great, Deepmoji is a great package, but we sometimes simple is better. And then there is Deepmoji, and what that package do is actually what we need to collect all kind of emojis and just create some kind of a dictionary to which emojis were in our text, and just collect them to a dictionary for later use if we want to understand what it is they talked about in the tweet itself. It's very, very easy to use and very, very nice implementation. And what's after that? Well, after you collect all your data, you can start by mapping it. If you have your location of the tweets, you can just plot it on a map. So you can view trends maybe by location. If you use all kind of if you use specific queries, you can plot them on a map by their location. Not all tweets will have location. It depends on the privacy preferences of the user themselves. When you're not aware and all your data points appear on a map, maybe you want to know who talks about what. So when we're talking about trends and people, and we're talking about influencers, maybe, we want to see how they connect, who are the main players, who are how they talk to each other, who follows who, and who quotes who, which tweet. And you want to see their connection by the user themselves to connect and plot users that reply to one another, that mention one another, and use social network analysis to see how the main players are connected. And this is very, very interesting field in data science and social network analysis and graph theory, and see how they are plotted together. And after you see who are the layers in our domain and how they are plotted on the map, maybe you want to know how they feel about it, to see the sentiment analysis of the tweets itself using NLP methods, to see not only what they're talking about, it is what their opinion, what's their position on a specific topic. Are they pro or against a specific topic? Maybe it's a controversial topic. This is another field of the way we can plot and understand and come to understanding of that environment in Twitter, and use all of the Twitter, the data that is collected from Twitter in order to understand the world in a specific domain, in a specific topic. And that's it for my talk. Is there any questions?
Thank you for this.
Sorry?
Thank you for this talk. Any questions are welcome.
How does Twitter limits rates of tweets you download? I think it just reached a timeout. Yeah, I see the question. So when you're I don't really know how they do that. I'm guessing it's like the amount of requests they get. So they limit the amount of the requests you're getting. When I tried it, more than I wrote it down in the specific slide, but it was 4,000 for 15 minutes. Every 15 minutes for a specific credentials, just give you a timeout and you cannot request for more.
All right. Thanks. We still have room for more questions.
So I was actually worried that the code itself is a few years old, and I was actually worried that it might something has changed with all the changes that are in Twitter. And I actually checked it out today, and the code works fine. You can get the data. It's also available in my GitHub. You can just ping me in LinkedIn. There is also links over there for my GitHub. There is the entire tutorials there with notebooks that you can just run them. Use your own credential, but use the notebooks.